All right, welcome everybody into the Lawyer You Know. Today we're going to talk about Jamie Spears seemingly stepping down as the conservator for Britney Spears' estate. And when I got notified of this by two of the biggest Free Britney activists I know, Chris Oldham and Jeff Griffith, they reached out, told me what happened, sent me some articles. I looked into it. Some court documents have been filed. Some lawyers have commented on what's going on and what this actually means. So today we're going to talk about, I should say tonight, we're going to talk about what Jamie Spears said in those court documents, what it means as far as is he still going to have investigations coming down on him criminally and civilly, what it means for Britney. Is she free? Is she free to do whatever she wants? Is the conservatorship over? Or what steps need to happen and what's coming next and what her lawyer has to say about it. So we're going to break all that down on tonight's video. But before we get to that, make sure you subscribe to our page if you haven't already. Make sure you like this video and comment on it, because the way we determine what videos we do more of and what stories we follow is based on which videos get the most views, obviously, and the most likes. So it helps us know what you guys want to listen to, what you want to hear, what you want to watch, so we can keep bringing you the content that you are most interested in. So today, just recently, within the last hour or two, it's come down the pipe that Jamie Spears, through his attorney, has indicated that even though he believes he has done nothing to be disqualified or nothing to be removed as the conservator, that he is willing to step down as the conservator in this process. Now, what he didn't do is just step down. He didn't consent to what Britney Spears' lawyers filed in trying to remove him as the conservator. So what he has said in these court documents is that while he's not just going to step down, he's not just going to give in, he's still going to fight their motion to disqualify him. He is going to work with the court to transfer from him to a different conservator. So what that means is he's saying, that's fine, court. If you want to remove me and put somebody else in, that's fine. Let's do it in a streamlined, let's do it in a well-mannered way, what's best for the conservatorship. I'm not going to fight you on it, even though I feel like I've done nothing to disqualify myself, and even though I feel like I've done absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm admitting no wrongdoing. But through his lawyers, he said, it just ain't worth it anymore. All the attacks he's getting from everywhere, whether it's the Free Britney activists, whether it's the media, whether it's Britney herself, just throwing this slander his way and accusing him of all these things, is just not worth it anymore. And even though he believes that it is absolutely better for him to be the conservator and the best thing for Britney's estate is for him to be the conservator, he's saying that's fine. If they want to make a mistake and put some other conservator in, that's basically what he's saying in this motion, that he's the best man for the job, but it ain't worth all of the outside pressure. And he said, which is really important, that a public battle where they talk about whether he's qualified or not and whether or not Britney Spears needs this conservatorship is just going to be a bad look for Britney. So basically, he's looking out for her to try to not drag this out in public. And that's something that Britney Spears' lawyer responded to. So when these different news outlets reached out to Rosengard, Britney's attorney, and asked him, well, what's your comment on this? What do you think about this? Well, he said, well, we're delighted that he has basically admitted it's time for him to step down and he needs to step down. We're disappointed in the fact that he is still throwing shameful, disgusting remarks at Britney and still besmirching his daughter, basically. And important, Rosengard said that he is not going to back down. They are still going to vigorously fight to prove what Jamie Spears has done and continues to do, that he has taken advantage of Britney Spears throughout the 13 years that he has been in charge of her estate. They're still going to prove that abuse. They're still going to prove that fraud. There still will be civil and potential criminal charges coming after Jamie Spears for what he did while he was Britney's conservator. Okay, so that is not going away. A lot of people thought, kind of like the Cuomo video we did the other day, that if he gets out in front of this and he resigns, maybe that's going to kill some of the backlash. And maybe Jamie Spears, if he gets in front of this and he resigns as the conservator, maybe that'll quell some of the backlash. Maybe the civil complaints will go away. Maybe the criminal investigations will go away if they were to come. But That's not going away, according to Britney's attorney. Let me read some of the stuff that he said. He has some interesting quotes in here. So Jamie Spears, through his attorney, said there are in fact no actual grounds for suspending or removing Mr. Spears as the conservator. So again, and they say it's highly debatable whether a change in conservatorship at this time is even best for Miss Spears. So Jamie still thinks he's the best man for the job, as I mentioned. And then Rosengard, Britney's attorney, says, we're pleased that Mr. Spears and his lawyers have today conceded in a filing that he must be removed. That's funny because that's not actually what Jamie Spears' lawyers would say. They said they're going to work with the court to back down, but he's saying they conceded in this court filing. And he says it's vindication for Britney. Okay. That's important for the Free Britney activists. That's important for Britney. This is the first step, the first major victory that she has in this process, getting her dad booted, which is a huge, huge benefit and point of why it's so important to be able to choose your own attorney who will fight for you and do the right thing for your interests, not the interest of the conservatorship or somebody else paying the bill, but what's best for you and the attorney you can choose, because she was able to help be in the process of choosing this attorney, and he has come in hot, fighting for her, aggressive, vigorous, and boom, already the victories are starting to come in for Britney Spears. So that was obviously a good move. That was something that was necessary, and that was something that we hope to continue to see for Britney. He did say they're disappointed, however, by Jamie's ongoing shameful and reprehensible attacks on Miss Spears. Okay. We look forward to continuing our vigorous investigation into the conduct of Miss Spears, Mr. Spears, and others over the past 13 years, while he reaped millions of dollars from his father's estate. And I look forward to taking Mr. Spears' sworn deposition in the near future. So lawyers love doing depositions because you have a chance to ask questions to somebody while they're under oath, and these statements can be made, can be used against them forever in any case and anything that ever comes up, civilly or criminally. These depositions can be used to impeach witnesses. So whatever Jamie Spears says when Rosengart deposes him, if there are criminal actions coming, that can be used against him, which is going to be interesting to see. Will Jamie Spears plead the fifth in these depositions if they happen in this civil case where an investigation is going on? Did he abuse his power as conservator and take too much money from Britney Spears' estate? So will he just plead the fifth? And that's interesting. When you plead the fifth, you do have the right to remain silent. But if you plead the fifth, you can get an inference that your response would incriminate you. So in civil cases, it's almost as if you pleading the fifth can be used against you because you're not denying any of this. So you can ask him, so Jamie, did you steal money from the estate? He'll say, I plead the fifth because I think my response might be incriminating. And then you can read that to the jury and say, he didn't say he didn't. He didn't say he didn't steal the money. He didn't say he didn't commit fraud because he's trying to protect himself criminally, but it doesn't work the same in the civil action. It's almost like it can be used against you. So that's something we'll break down in the future. If people have more questions about it, I can get into it. So put your questions in the comments as we go, and kind of near the end, I'll answer the questions like I usually do. I don't have as much time tonight as I usually have, but I'll be here for probably about 30 minutes total. So Rosengard's going to keep coming down the pipe, keep coming hard at Jamie Spears. Jamie Spears, while he's agreeing to step down, does not admit any wrongdoing and doesn't even admit, forget about like criminal action or civil action or liability. He's just saying he still thinks he's the best guy for the job, but he's getting attacks from all sides. So I'll read that quote. All right. So he says, nevertheless, Mr. Spears is the unremitting target of unjustified attacks. Okay. So he's getting them. They're not justified. People are coming out. You can imagine. You know how the world is. You know how cancel culture is today. You know how fans can be fanatic about the people that they follow. And people have a real problem with what it seems like from the outside world Jamie Spears has done to Britney Spears. She has not been quiet about it. She has not pulled any punches about what she says he's done to her. So he's trying to save face as much as he can, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. Do you think the fact that he's stepping down before they even do the full investigation and disqualify him, do you think that's some kind of admitting guilt? Do you think that makes him look worse? Do you think it makes him look better? Like he's saying, I don't want to fight this process. If she wants me gone, I'm gone. Now, the reason I don't buy that is why didn't he do it before? Why did he wait until now when she has this aggressive ex-prosecutor, big shot lawyer to the stars coming at him? Is he scared now? Is there a reason he's stepping down now versus before when she had the court-appointed lawyer that was chosen by the conservatorship and maybe controlled by the conservatorship? To me, this opens the door to so many other things that could possibly be happening. Was everybody on the payroll? Were all the lawyers on the payroll before? Were all the doctors on the payroll before? If they were, I have a sneaking suspicion that Rosengart is going to find that out. He's going to find out what happened, who's responsible, who can potentially be civilly liable, and he is going to talk to his connections in the prosecutor's office and law enforcement, because you got to know, we work with law enforcement all the time. We have friends that are law enforcement. We've been involved in cases with people that are law enforcement, working with the state attorney's office and as criminal defense lawyers. We come across a lot of law enforcement connections and state attorney and U.S. attorney connections that when something big happens, we know who to go to. We know how to report things to the state attorney's office. We know how to report things to the U.S. attorney's office and put them in a nice package and tie a bow around it to say, here's the case you're going to want to look at. So with his experience, Rosengart is going to know how to do that. So once he gets the evidence and the data that he needs to prove criminal charges, because that's what he did. He proved these criminal charges. He's going to know exactly what to do to get that to the right person where they should hopefully pursue it if it is viable. And he's going to handle the civil stuff and he's going to handle the rest, right? So the big question, does this make Britney Spears free? Is Britney free? The short answer is no. Not yet, hopefully, at least is the answer, as opposed to just a straight no. Because, as I said, Jamie Spears isn't just stepping down. He said he's going to work with the court and work with Britney's lawyers to have a transfer, a smooth transfer from him to a new conservator. Okay, so that's interesting because a lot of people were asking, we talked before about why don't they just get rid of the conservatorship? Why are they just trying to get Jamie to step down? It seems like it's kind of convoluted and hard to follow some of the stuff Britney says, but it seems like she would be okay with keeping the conservatorship as long as Jamie was no longer the conservator. So Britney does not seem to be totally free. But as we've seen recently with some of her social media posts that are a little risque and are a little out there, she has more freedom now. And if Jamie's gone as her conservator, I would think that's going to mean even another layer of freedom that Britney Spears is going to have in this process, hopefully. So while she may not be completely free, and while she may still need some help making certain decisions, it seems like a lot more freedom is coming her way than was there in the past. So no, she's not free. And we'll just run through the questions one more time. Yes, Jamie Spears has stepped down, but he has admitted no wrongdoing. And even though he has stepped down, it doesn't mean that the civil investigation is going away as to whether or not he committed fraud or did anything wrong. And any potential criminal investigation doesn't go away just because he's agreeing to step down. And lastly, Britney is not free just because of this move, but it is a huge step in the right direction. It is another victory. We said the first victory was when she was able to pick her own lawyer or have involvement in picking her lawyer, and she got this guy who seems awesome when we talked about it. And he has already, 1 for 1, right? He's got a hit. He's got a home run his first time up at the plate. The first things he's filed, he's been aggressive. He's moved up the court date to try to disqualify Jamie Spears. And all of his aggression has seemed to work in Britney's favor because now the dominoes are starting to fall to get Britney the freedom that she's looking for and get her some control over who is involved in this conservatorship and who is helping making decisions in her life. So now I'm going to hop over to the comments and answer some questions. So if you have any, make sure you get them in the comments. Yes, everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our page. It helps us out. We know what you guys want to hear if you like the videos and if you subscribe and if you watch them. The stuff that gets the more views and the more likes, we realize more content like that. Okay. Hi, Sean. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Annie. He can pay himself buckets and buckets of money per month. Yeah, but not anymore now that he's going to step down. The money train is over. He already got mills. That's true, but if he got them illegally, it seems like we're going to find out, and it seems like he may lose it. So it's not over yet. So Sabrina, this is something we talked about a lot. People should have the freedom to be able to make their own mistakes and make their own decisions based on the money they made. That's absolutely true. But there are circumstances where help is needed. I literally just had a friend's mom reach out to me this week about somebody in her family that got taken advantage of with a scam, lost a lot of her money, couldn't make her decisions anymore, and needed a lawyer to help her set up some protections, some decision-making powers based on some medical diagnoses. And it was a family issue they were trying to deal with together. So there does come certain points in your life where you may not be able to make those decisions on your own. It seems like Britney may have at least been there at some point, but most people would agree, at least us armchair psychologists who get our degrees from Google College of Medicine. But we seem to think she doesn't need that anymore, but who knows, right? We're going to leave some stuff hopefully in the hands of the professionals. But for the most part, yeah, people should be able to be free to make their own mistakes. But the law does step in when there is evidence that they can't make the best decisions for themselves. And the decisions they make are either going to harm themselves or others. And that's what it seems like happened here. Lauren thinks that it made, I forgot I can do this. Lauren thinks that it made Jamie look worse by stepping down. That's my sentiment. I mean, I guess it can go either way, because think about it. If the investigation comes public and they disqualify him from being the conservator, isn't that worse than him just stepping down and them kind of stopping at least that process? I guess we're still going to find out so much more with what Rosengard's going to continue to do. Yeah, Annie, this ain't over. He's not going away. He's not letting Jamie Spears off that easily. He's out for blood is what it seems like. Britney just got an iPad. That's interesting. All right, here we go. So, Diana, will the investigation still go on if he's now stepped down? No problem. And I realize everybody kind of joins the live at different times, so some of this will be repetition, but whatever. So, the investigation as to whether or not he should be disqualified as the conservator, that's going to end. But the investigation as to whether or not he abused his power, he abused his position, he committed fraud, he did anything wrong, he stole from Britney, that investigation is not over. They are continuing that investigation full force. It's just they're not going to waste time and money to prove he's disqualified for something that he has already agreed now to step down to. That's pretty much what the result is that you're trying to get. So if he's giving you that result, you just focus on the fraud now. You focus on what you need to fit into the causes of action civilly and criminally, potentially, that you're going to go after for Jamie Spears, and those investigations are not over. All right, let's see here. All right, so Maxine is back. All of a sudden, everyone that was supposed to be protecting her are now jumping ship. I do believe any criminal that is guilty of breaking the law will run if the investigation is closing in. Okay, so this is probably in reference to my question about whether or not you think this makes him look more guilty, and it seems like you're saying yes to that. So it is strange, right? We're watching this happen. It feels like slow motion because court cases go so slow. But we see a manager step down. We see a lawyer step down. We see her dad step down, all when she gets a little freedom to make some of her own decisions and put some people she feels like will protect her around her, right? Like this new lawyer. She gets to make some decisions. She gets some outsiders to come in and look and poke around as what all these insiders have been doing to protect her for so many years, right? I don't know if you've ever had somebody come in and do construction on your house and look at what somebody else done, or even a lawn person come and look at some plants, or somebody that's coming to look and inspect other people's work. A mechanic look at your car and they'll say, oh, whoever worked on this before didn't know what they were doing. Construction's the worst. Like they open up the ceiling. Oh man, whoever did this before didn't know what they were doing, right? And that can be just in a normal situation where there wasn't even mistakes made. People that come and check other people's work usually find problems. And Rosengard is coming vigorously, and it seems like there is going to be a lot to find, and nobody wants to be connected to this. The other conservators that were banks and hedge funds, they're gone. The lawyer that was involved for so long, he's gone. The manager, he's gone. And now the last big domino, her dad is even stepping down, but he's not going to be able to run. Okay, Annie, who's going to investigate the two judges? Are they allowed? They allowed the abuse by her father, right? So this is harder. It's harder to investigate the judges, but if in Rosengard's investigation, he finds that the judges were involved, an email, a text message, a phone call, something that can prove their involvement, they can absolutely get caught up in this web. Okay. But with judges, you're going to need cold, hard evidence. You're going to need you're going to need a smoking gun if you're going to involve judges in a scheme to defraud or some kind of conspiracy, right? So they're going to need a lot more evidence to include the judges. But think about it this way. If her dad was falsifying documents, if he had doctors involved that were saying things that were not true and they were on the payroll, what's the judge supposed to do? If a doctor comes and under oath says she needs this conservatorship, she has these mental deficiencies, or she has this diagnosis, and the judge is looking at the law, which says if they have this mental competence level, they need a conservatorship. There's nothing really the judge can do. The judge has to follow the law. The judge has to follow the expert testimony. The judge has to listen to what lawyers and doctors say. That's what's so important about candor with the court and being honest with the court, and judges knowing your reputation. When you get in front of judges a lot, they know if you file a document, they know if you're the type of lawyer that they can take it at face value and believe that your research is correct and what you've put in here is true. And then they know the lawyers that are going to try to twist stuff and pull some cases that don't really say that, but they're going to try to make it seem like that. We have lawyers file stuff all the time where they say, this is what this case stands for. We read the case, and it's not at all what the case stands for. So sometimes judges need to be pointed out that stuff, but they can only do so much. They can't disregard evidence. They can't disregard experts. They can't disregard doctors that are swearing under oath and have the documents that they need just because some YouTuber says that Britney Spears is getting taken advantage of and everybody's on the payroll. They need a lot more than that. So fashionable. Wasn't it obvious he was using her to begin with? Why did the court not look at it closely sooner? So this is the hard thing. In one of the first videos we did, I was kind of on the fence as to whether or not this conservatorship, I thought it was a big conspiracy or not, or if she needed it. I kind of felt like, based on everything we saw, maybe she needs it. And there's still a part of me that believes that. Maybe they should have gotten rid of her dad earlier, but it's hard. It's like an adoption case. They go from the mom to the dad to the grandparents. You try to get the closest family members that know the person the best to be involved to make the decisions, right? So who's closer than your dad for Britney Spears purposes? So I can understand why they erred on that side. I can also guarantee you there are things we don't know. There are documents we've never seen. There are medical reports we've never seen. So I think she may have needed this conservatorship more than we were aware of early on, and maybe that's why the court was slow to pull it and still hasn't pulled it. So yes, we are, Carrie Ann, we are going to have to wait. Hold on a second. I am... okay, sorry. So we are going to have to wait until that court date because he didn't just step down. He didn't just concede. He said, I'm willing to work with the court to transfer me from me to somebody else as the conservator. We're going to do it in a, reasonable fashion. We're going to do it in a orderly fashion to make everything easier. So yes, it seems like we are still going to have to wait until that court date to make it official. Even her lawyer totally guilty? I hope not. I really want to believe that that's not true and he wasn't on the payroll and he wasn't on the take. I don't want to believe that. Maybe he was just ignorant or lazy or something else, willfully negligent and didn't know what was going on. Yeah, judges too. I mean, we're going to see, right? Rosengart's not going to stop just because you're a lawyer or a doctor or a judge or a family. He is not going to stop. He's going to run the ball with this. He's going to take it the full way. All right. Alana Johnson, interesting. Could Rosengart's recent success have repercussions for the previous lawyer? Example, unsatisfactory professional conduct. Aussie law students studying professional conduct at the moment. All right, that's fun. That's cool. So I would say it's not a good look, but we have to remember that before Rosengart, the lawyer was technically representing the conservatorship, and he can say that what he was doing was what he felt was best for the conservatorship. So that can be what he kind of hides behind. Rosengart has come in as a man on a mission to take down this conservatorship, to take down the people abusing Britney, and to represent Britney's best interests. So I think while it may show that those other lawyers should have done more for Britney to fix this situation, and that this situation could be fixed with the right legal action, they could have gotten that conservator out that she wanted out, which was her dad, Jamie, and they could have gotten a better conservator in for Britney. They could have fought to get her more freedom, and they didn't. That's what I think is the main problem, and that's what you're talking about. So yes, sometimes a new lawyer's actions can make you look bad as a lawyer. Like if we're the fifth lawyer on a case sometimes and we see all the mistakes other lawyers made, but it doesn't mean that it was legal malpractice. It doesn't mean that it was fraud. It doesn't mean that it was unsatisfactory professional conduct. It doesn't mean that it was ineffective assistance of counsel. It doesn't automatically rise to that level just because you tried something different and it worked, right? There are cases that you go to trial, you lose, a different lawyer appeals it and wins and goes to trial. It's not automatically legal malpractice or unsatisfactory professional conduct or ineffective assistance of counsel. That's not automatic. There has to be actual action or huge negligence taken on the part of the lawyer that he was doing things that, but for what he did, they would have won the case. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but not automatic. She'll need help for a while. Okay, yeah, I think that's, what we're kind of getting into now is we'll see how much help does she need for how long, what's that help going to look like. That's something that's still to be determined, I think, in her process. And we're just riding her process with her and just trying to find out what's going on. And it's always interesting, right? So why did Jamie's lawyers file this notice at this point? If he's not going to step down immediately, and he's going to do it over the coming days and potentially wait till the hearing happens to hear what the court says to transfer from him to somebody else, and might not be official until that court date. Why did he file this now? Why didn't he just call Rosengard and say, hey, I'm willing to work with you. I'll go ahead. I'll transfer this conservatorship. Was he doing it in the court of public opinion? Did he want people to say, oh, good, he's finally doing the right thing? I haven't seen any comments that have said that so far. Does anybody think he's just being a nice guy now and doing the right thing? Why did his lawyer file these documents now? That's my question. Everything's strategic, right? Lawyers are very strategic. We're like PR people on steroids, okay? Because we have legal tools to use, but we also know what the public is going to see and how people are going to react to that, okay? And if this was a civil lawsuit, you guys could be the juries. You could be the jury members. You could be the jurors. So you could see these documents. You could hear him explain things like this. Would this make it less likely to say he was abusing his power? Look, he stepped down. Enough was enough eventually. I think that's all important. Yep, retired judges. That's going to be hard to get anything from them. So yes. So Maxine, you're right. Britney said that she had no idea she could personally request a change. I agree with her. Maybe her lawyer was not telling her what she should. Now, sometimes clients are not always the most receptive to what you're saying. So maybe he did explain it to her. If he did, hopefully it was in writing, because we do a lot of things in writing or by email now so that we have record of it, or take contemporaneous notes in a practice management system so that they are there to produce if there's a discrepancy and you butt heads with the client. They say, you never told me this. It's always best to have it in writing. So hopefully he has that stuff in writing. Yeah, if he's not telling her what her rights are, especially exactly what she wants and publicly what she's saying, and you're not doing anything as a lawyer to help that and protect that, that could be a major issue. I'd be nervous if I was her previous lawyer. I would be nervous. It's not a slam dunk. It's not automatic, but I absolutely would be nervous. And I don't like being nervous after I represent people. Okay. It's never happened. So hopefully it doesn't. So Debbie, why is she not in control of her life? Seems about money. Everything's about money this day and age, right? But at least at some point, it seems like she was not competent to make good decisions for herself. She was a harm to herself or others. There was some custody battles, I think, that came into play with her agreeing to this conservatorship. And once a conservatorship is intact, it is very difficult to get it to go away. So that's an interesting question. So CME Fashionable, could he be stepping down now because he destroyed evidence and cooking the books? So any lawyer that gets involved with somebody that destroys evidence is a fool, right? Because now you're implicated criminally and civilly. You're going to lose your license. So I hope to think no lawyer would be involved in something like that. You actually have to tell your client. We write letters to our client, don't destroy anything, as well as don't post anything on social media. So we have a list of things that we send to our clients in an initial letter. And one of them is don't destroy anything that could be evidence, right? So it's important that they don't destroy evidence. And if he did wait, they'll be able to prove, like if he destroyed QuickBooks files that show where the money went, that's going to be obvious. If he changed them, there's metadata that we have experts that can find when it was changed and how it was changed. So I would like to think he couldn't have cooked the books in this day and age and destroyed evidence without other people knowing. There's things called a spoliation letter that says you have to keep something that's evidence that you send to the other side. And if they don't and they destroy it, there can be criminal implication, but you can also get an adverse instruction to the jury. Like the judge can say something like, these books existed and the defendant destroyed them. So you can think in your head, members of the jury, why would he destroy these books? So even though they don't exist, you can get an instruction like that from the judge to the jury. Oh, Appletina. We've talked about a lot. It'll post right after. I don't want to repeat it for everybody that's been in here, but it'll post right after, and you can get into what Jamie Spears has done, what Britney Spears' lawyer's response was, and what it means now. Yeah, he's a real nice guy, just like Santa Claus is real. All right. Let's see here. So yeah, everybody's saying not a great look for the lawyer who's supposed to be there for her best interest, leading her. I mean, that's what lawyers do, literally. We started this channel to tell people about their rights and what their rights are, because it's so sad and frustrating when people don't know their rights. They get in a car accident, they don't have underinsured motorist coverage, the other person has no coverage. They're like, what? I didn't even know about that. So we created this channel to tell people about their rights, especially the ones that are really important that you may not know about, okay? These are just random people. All of you who we've become friends in a community over the last year, right? I'm trying to share as much with you as I can, and you're not even my clients. Most of you, some of you are, but you're not even my clients. Think about this guy represented her. He is or she is his client. And he's not even telling her about the specific rights she has in her case for which he represents her. That goes against everything that is in me as a lawyer, right? What do we know? I don't know how to fix a car. I don't know how to build a house. I don't know how to do anything. I can barely hang a TV in my house. But what I know are your legal rights and legally what you can and can't do in situations and what the legal ramifications for actions are. So why not share that with people? Why not help people, especially your clients? That's the saddest part is, yes, he is supposed to guide her in the right direction. He is supposed to inform her about these rights, and he totally dropped the ball if what she's saying is true, right? I never want to just take one side of the story, take it as truth, and run with it, right? So we have to at least leave that open that maybe he did tell her, she didn't understand, whatever. But yes, absolutely, lawyers are supposed to lead their clients in the right direction and tell them what their rights are. So Annie's saying the kids are getting older, so the family law issues are not as big. I mean, I think I read something somewhere. I'm not like all in on this, reading every article that has to do with Britney Spears. When something comes up in the court case, I dig into that a little bit. But I think I read an article that even Kevin Federline is coming to Britney's defense and saying this is too much. This is abuse. She needs to have part of her life back or her life back. I think even he has come to her defense saying this has gone too far. Yeah, it's bad. All right. It's going to end up worse than when it started. You got to know what you know and know what you don't know. Okay. I have a lot of shortcomings as it comes in life. I like to focus on what I'm good at and what I know and dive fully into that. And then, hey, I like the trickle down economics. I like to hire people to do stuff like that because that's what they're good at. That's what they dedicate their time in life to being great at. So good. We got to use experts and professionals to help us in life. That's what makes the world go round. All right. Debbie, how can this have happened? Aren't there laws in place to protect people in this situation? Doesn't his spending of her money need to be scrutinized? So yes, all that's what's happening now by Rosengart. But if you go back and watch some of the other videos where we really break down what a conservatorship is, it's medically and legally, it's been determined that you can't make your own decisions. Okay, so somebody else steps into your space, basically your brain, and is making the decisions about what's best for you. and you're taken out of the equation. That's how this happens. So the government, yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, he's had to file stuff with the court throughout this whole process. Yeah, he's not just doing all this stuff in secret. There are other people that see the books and see where all the money's going. Absolutely. Absolutely. Babic, alive, correct. I held to my word. It's hard, man. These lives are hard. It's late. I like to hang out with my kids. They're upstairs just jumping around being crazy. So, but yeah, I wanted to come to a live, talk about this a little bit. We're about done. So if you have any other questions, I'm going to give it about a minute or two. This video, I think, just goes right to YouTube afterwards. But thanks everybody for joining us. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And let us know. Do you like this content? Do you like the Britney Spears story? What other stories or cases that we're following do you like better? If you go like those videos and watch those videos, it helps us know which one to put more time and energy in, because we can't hit everything. We've got to kind of pick and choose what my guess is I'm going to keep following this because my wife is invested in this as a Free Britney activist. Sorry, my wife and sister are not here today. This was a quick turnaround. I wanted to get to it. K-Fed did speak up for her. He said the best thing to have a mom that's happy and healthy. Yeah, I agree. I think that is what he said, and it makes sense, and everybody seems to kind of be on the same page. And with that, we'll sign off. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We'll do another one soon. Make sure you follow our page, like it, get in the community, answer the polls, ask us questions, because everything we want to do is what you guys want to hear, and I want to explain what you guys are interested in. So thanks as always. This was fun, guys. Appreciate it.